All right, let's check the dollar against the Japanese yen here. Oh my gosh, what the heck happened? It's another day in the markets and we've got big moves to cover. Hey, I'm not going to lie. The recent market headlines have been making my job as a market commentator a lot easier. Some days I would load on here and there's just not a lot to talk about. Nothing of that nature here recently. It's like every single day, people are sending me DMs. Nick, what's going on with this? Nick, tell me about this, or what's gold doing? I've got it all here for you. You guys know what we do on this channel. We're going to be covering what's going on in markets today and what kind of setups could be forming for us to potentially take advantage of. So without further ado, we're going to talk a little about some of the Japanese yen movement that's gone on overnight. We're going to talk about stocks. We're going to talk about gold as it hits yet another all-time high and much more. All I ask as we get started is if you could hit the thumbs up button on my video and let's do some chart markups. I think an easy place for us to start here today is gold. Gold continues to hit yet again another all-time high, 28.66 here in play, which is actually just a remarkable continuation of this trend. If we just take a look at some like simple momentum indicators, look at how clean this chart is. Compare that to my beloved NASDAQ, which looks like absolutely hot garbage here recently, moving nowhere but back and forth. NASDAQ's been a little bit frustrating, but you look at gold and it's like, oh, there's a chart that I can actually we can see what's happening here. It's trending higher. And I think that the path of least resistance when we look at something like gold would be to wait for pullbacks, but to stay bullish. Now, I am not necessarily bullish on gold. I don't currently have it on the top setups page for the EdgeFinder as a setup for me. However, check this out. We got silver bullish readings, and I currently already have a bullish position on silver, but I would love to add another one. This too has a really nice breakout momentum here forming, and I'm looking for pullbacks on this silver chart for opportunities. So if I draw this Fibonacci retracement, I really like the 38.2% retracement level, as well as the 61.8% retracement zone. As long as we can get that kind of pullback in combination with a strong EdgeFinder reading, I'm actually really interested in possibly taking silver long, even more so than I am interested in gold. By the way, we're currently doing a significant discount on the EdgeFinder. It's currently 30% off using the link and promo code found in the description down below of this video, as well as in the pinned comment. Make sure, if you have not already picked up a copy, to do so this week before the sale ends, because this is a great opportunity to set yourself up with more data for the trading year ahead. Many traders rely only on technical charts and they wonder why they're going in circles. Start using the macro fundamental analysis tools that we've built to help find better trading setups in the markets. If you have any questions or you'd like some more details about the sale offering, you can use the first link in the description down below to speak directly to a member of my support team. Now, again, I look at the indices right now and I just see a load of garbage. There's just no follow through anywhere here. You had a nice bounce back throughout the middle of the week. And last week we actually had the DeepSeek fear, markets rallied. But again, we just are so choppy here. I really only have my eyes on two scenarios in which case I'd actually be interested in trading the S&P 500 on the long side. I am either looking for a breakout of the all-time highs, showing bulls are back in control and looking for pullbacks, or I'm looking for a deeper retracement back down to this 58.50, in which case I'd be willing to take that buy, especially if we still have EdgeFinder confirmation at that time. Recently, I've also been getting some really bearish confirmation ideas on things like pound yen and CAD yen, dollar yen, etc. I want to show you this. Check out the readings here on the Japanese yen currency pairs on the EdgeFinder. You can see a pretty uniform, very bearish reading for most of these currency crosses. Now, specifically, I actually really liked this very bearish reading, -14 reading on pound yen. And we actually saw some really strong data come out of Japan last night, which caused the Japanese yen to get really strong, like I showed you at the beginning of this video. And this was a trade signal that I actually sent yesterday. I shorted pound yen just before that big drop, and I'll show you what that ended up looking like. So as you can see, I ended up taking this trade, and like a waterfall, this thing absolutely fell apart so quickly, and I ended up actually taking profits here this morning. Rarely do I ever have a trade that only lasts one single night, but I literally went to bed after shorting this pound yen pair and then woke up this morning to some really good profits and ended up closing when we took out the lows. So love those kinds of trades. Every once in a while, you get an EdgeFinder setup like this that just looks so good, and it was hard not to pass up. So when we look at the pound yen pair, pair. For example, I basically on the 30-minute chart, I actually was trading it based off of this momentum here. Let's do our trend here. So we had on like the 30-minute 1-hour chart, this was right where we started to flip into a bearish kind of zone, and I ended up taking the short position in combination with the EdgeFinder, shared that trade inside of our Discord, and actually ended up closing it out this morning. So really quick trade, but I will take those all day long. Anytime I can get a trade like that set up for me, I will take it if I can find it. So from here on the pound yen, I'm going to continue to watch it. I might trade it again if we do get some sort of pullback, but right now momentum here is pretty well to the downside. I'd be looking for pullbacks for possible short continuations, especially if we still get that EdgeFinder confirmation. We also have dollar yen here even more to the downside. I mean, look at the clean momentum here. So this is the beauty of trading many different markets, right? So you guys know I love trading the indices. I trade them all the time when I can find the right setups, but right now they're so choppy. And the beautiful thing about being a momentum trader that uses fundamentals, I trade a little bit of everything. So I'm looking at stuff that's actually setting up nice trade alerts for me, and I don't have to sit around waiting for the NASDAQ to set up. I can move on and start focusing on other things. In fact, this yen weakness has been exceptional for a trade that I have on in TLT. TLT is ripping here today. This is a US Treasury bond ETF, and on some of the weakness in the US economic data that we saw this morning, which I'll cover in a second, this really helped to buoy up bond prices as yields fall. Expectations for rate cuts in the United States are rising. So specifically, some of the data we've been recently seeing, JOLTS job openings came in lighter than expected, showing a little bit of weakness on the labor front. And then we can also cross that with this morning's PMI data. And you can see services PMI numbers came in lower than expected. And this was a key part of the US economy. We were really looking for this to hold up at 54.2. That was the forecast. This is causing the dollar weakness here today. And again, TLT rising dramatically off of higher expectations now that the Fed may cut rates to combat a not necessarily slowing economy, but at least a little bit of a cooling economy, right? We're not seeing red hot data. We're seeing, I guess, red hot misses on the data here this week. So that's showing a little bit of progress here on the rate cut story and causing things like gold to rip higher, as well as TLT, which also greatly benefits from economic weakness. This is a bit of a hedge in my portfolio, and I love the momentum that we're now seeing forming finally on this TLT Treasury bond ETF. Sometimes people ask me a little bit about how I trade Forex pairs. I do trade them a little bit differently than I trade things like TLT or the NASDAQ or gold, etc. So stick around for this clip where James and I actually discussed some interesting ideas on dollar cost averaging Forex pairs. And for those of you guys who are US Forex traders, just a heads up, Oanda is a brokerage that I've used for years, and I personally love their platform. They have a great mobile app. It's a great option for US Forex traders. And if that is you, there's a special sign-up bonus available in my description down below for those who are interested in trading with Oanda. Check out the link. If you use that specific one, there's again some unique special offers that they've set up for my channel that you can take advantage of.
So when I'm looking into what do I want to go long or short on, it's mainly built around G10 currencies, because what I don't want to do, for example, if I was going into gold with the same sort of strategy, I would have been margin called probably a year ago, because what you don't want to do is go into equities, go into gold, go into things that have a natural drift to the upside. And, you know, your analysis could be fine, but all it takes is one thing to happen and gold's going to maybe run 2% in the day. And obviously if you're over leveraged or something's happened, you're in a bad spot. Whereas with currencies, especially G10 currencies, what we often see, because they're such major economies, yeah, we might have huge runs, but generally we will see reversions. We see them quite often and they're relatively predictable. Again, obviously not if something crazy's happened or there's an or a surprise news release or something, but generally we can see them almost act like an elastic band, which is why I'm quite happy to do it on euro dollar, because I know if I do get into a really bad position and things just don't go my way, as long as I manage it essentially perfectly, I'll be okay. So yeah.
No, I love that. I mean, that's the thing is, okay, so we can take a look. For example, I've been trading pound yen here. That's just something that I'm looking at myself. If I am generally bearish on this chart, what many traders find very frustrating, and also we do have news in 1 minute, so let me not forget that. I'm going to do a speed version. Pound yen, I might be bearish on this thing, and I might say, I think it's going down from here. And I could still be right that it could go bearish, but it might do this first, right? So that's the thing about dollar cost averaging. The beauty of it is if I, instead of saying super heavy size, tight stop loss right there, I could instead take an approach. And again, it's preference here. You could do it that way, or you could say, well, actually, I'd rather take a small position here, and I'll add another one here, and I'll add another one here. And if any of these scenarios play out, I am likely to make money. So
I hope that video was helpful to you, and I also wanted to make sure to share our Telegram channel with you. Every day we are posting up chart markups and analysis and in-depth breakdowns of what's going on both fundamentally and technically in the markets. We also drop bonus videos in the Telegram channel, so don't miss out. Come join our Telegram channel. The link is in the description down below. Have a great rest of your day.